Welcome to Make Thrift Buy. This is the show where you send in clothes that you've seen on the internet and then I try my best to recreate them here at home. Today I'm tackling the much hyped, super cheap fashion app, Wish. Wish is an app that aggregates items from multiple fast fashion sellers, and most items on this app are disturbingly cheap. Some items are even free if you pay for shipping. Who is making a profit here? So there's been a somewhat disturbing trend lately on YouTube of people doing these Wish hauls and then either laughing at how bad the quality of the clothing that they get is. Like, lol, look how bad this shirt is. Yeah, that's because it was made by a child. Or being pleasantly surprised by it not falling apart straight away. Even in the videos that are somewhat critical of the app, they almost never talk about the obvious huge environmental impact or the probable human rights violations that are going on here. You should always be skeptical of clothes this cheap, because if they can sell it to you this cheaply and still make a profit, then think about how much they could possibly be paying the people who made it. Use your brains, people. Fashion is the second largest polluter in the world, by the way, second only to the oil industry. So an app like Wish, I'm not a huge fan. So in this video and in some future Make Thrift Buy videos, I'm going to be looking at items from the Wish app, but then trying my best to recreate them here at home without giving this app a dime. So let's begin. For today's episode, I downloaded the Wish app and I went through it to find some items that would be easy to recreate for myself, preferably something that could easily be made without even needing a sewing machine. And I know that not all of you have sewing machines, so I wanted as many of you to be able to try it as possible. On the app, I was drawn to the photos of this cute top, and I found multiple versions of it in varying prices. So my first thought when I saw these tops was, hey, you can actually find something that looks really similar all the time at thrift shops, which are vintage and secondhand slips. In almost every single thrift shop that I've ever been in, they sell these in a variety of sizes. They can usually be found in the pajamas or the nightwear section in charity stores, but they're also perfect to use to recreate this style of top. So I got this slip secondhand for just $2 from a local charity store. Now I'm gonna cut it up. To figure out where I want to cut it, first I put it on my body. And one great thing about vintage slips is that they almost always have adjustable straps. So I adjusted the dress to the right height for my soon-to-be top, and then I chose where I wanted the bottom of the top to end. For a crop top, you'd want to cut it around about your belly button, and for a longer top that can easily be layered under pants and jeans, you'd want to cut it lower, a few inches below where your hips start. I wanted to be able to tuck this into jeans and pants, so I'm going to make it a slightly longer top. So I grabbed a piece of chalk and I drew a line across the dress approximately where I wanted to cut it. Then I laid the dress down flat on my table, making sure the back and front were pretty much lined up, and I cut through both the front and back of the dress about 1 inch below that chalk line that I drew on. I cut it 1 inch below the line to add a hemming allowance, because that's what we're going to be doing next to make it look nice and neat. And I'm going to save this bottom section to make some silky shorts out of in another video. I also saw these on Wish. So the method for hemming that I'm going to be doing today is a no-sew method. You don't need a sewing machine for this, only an iron and double-sided hemming tape, which looks something like this. Hemming tape can be found at basically any groceries, homewares, or craft store. Like seriously, here in Australia, you can find it at Coles, Kmart, and Woolies. I actually got mine for about $2 at a craft store, and I've already used quite a bit of it in other projects. My hemming tape is quite wide, so first I cut it up into long strips, about 1 inch or so wide, and then I brought both the strips and the top over to my ironing board. This stuff is pretty easy to use. Basically, what I did was to lay a strip of the hemming tape down on top of my garment where I wanted to hem the top. So I laid it down on the inside of the top, at the bottom raw edge where I cut it with the scissors just before, and I placed it about 1 inch from the raw edge, or like the tape's own width away from the edge, and then I folded the fabric up over it, and then with my iron on satin setting and no steam, I pressed my iron down onto the hem. To fuse the two pieces of fabric together, it only needed about 10 seconds of pressing with the iron. And bit by bit, I went around the hemline like this. So the way hemming tape works is that both sides of the tape become sticky under the heat, fusing the fabric together. And it gives this nice, clean looking hem. Now, it's totally fine to leave it just like this, and that's what I did here and for the final shots. But if you wanted to finish it really properly and help it last a little bit longer, if you do have a sewing machine, you can now go around the hem with whatever stitch you'd like. So why not just sew it first and forget the hemming tape? Well, satin is a really difficult material to sew with, and you'll save yourself a lot of headaches if you use something like hemming tape first, because this will help stabilize the slippery satin fabrics while you sew. Anyway, that's it. Easy, right? So let's see the final reveal. How did I go? So my conclusion for this Make Thrift buy is obviously get yourself a slip from the nightwear section of a thrift shop or a charity store and make this for yourself. It takes literally about 20 minutes to do, if that, and it makes a really cute top that you can either layer over t-shirts and long sleeve tops, or you can wear it on its own in the summer. And coming in at under $4, it was even cheaper than all of the Wish versions that I saw. And I'm going to be using the bottom half of the slip to make some silky satin shorts, and then I can turn this into a two-piece set. So stay tuned for that. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to catch all my future videos, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!